Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Acharine Visesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanyam Namne Gauradvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpatarorvyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome you all once again. So as we discussed and decided last time, we'll begin the session by lighting an incense and offering to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura while chanting the Pranam mantra of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura and offering our prayers at his lotus feet that we can understand the teachings given by him in this wonderful book and also apply those teachings in our personal life, devotional life. So this is a very important practice which you have to learn. Srila Prabhupada, our beloved founder Acharya, he most of the time kept a photograph of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, on his desk. So why is that needed? It is needed to remind us because we tend to forget. So to remind us that who we are and why we are doing what we are doing. And also that's why these very simple practices, they go a long way and they help us immensely. So we can offer the incense and chant the pranam mantra. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavaraite Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we today will begin the session by doing two things. One is a quick revision of what we discussed last time. And then also we will do the song that we did last time at the end. today in today's session in the beginning, right? So let's do first the revision. If you remember, um, then you can raise your hand and answer. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he used to run a magazine, and the name of the magazine was mentioned in the last session, in which he published articles on these, you know, items mentioned in verses 2 and 3 of Sri Updeshamrit. So, anyone remembers the magazine's name? Yes, Niyati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The magazine name was Sajjana Toshini.
Yeah, very good. Sajjana Toshani. So, Sajjan means gentleman or gentlewoman, and Toshani means gives satisfaction to. So, Sajjana Toshani, something that gives satisfaction to a gentle person. So, then later he thought of compiling those 12 essays into a book, and that book was called Sri Bhakti Aloka. So, Aloka means what? Anyone else remembers? Alok means? Hmm?
Yes, Prabhuji, illusion. Sorry, illustrations.
Not illustration,
Illumination, sorry. Sorry,
illumination.
illumination.
To illuminate,
Illuminations.
to illuminate, to illuminate means to um, bring the focus on, right? To show what it is. If a room is dark, and you won't be seeing any object inside the room. So you have to turn out the light. And when the light is turned on, then you can see it very clearly. So, like that, to illuminate Bhakti Aloka. So, illuminations on Bhakti, right? And then we understood something about Sri Updeshamrita, you know. And then we also came to learn the importance of this particular book, Sri Bhakti Aloka, because it will help us to practice pure devotional service. Right. That was the importance that was discussed. So at the end, we sang a song, uh, which is prayer, where Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is asking for strength. For what? To be able to give up these things which are pratikul or unfavorable for our devotional practices. So it's very important to understand the mood of this bhajan. You know, the lines of this bhajan, if you are able to memorize or not, that's not very important. But to get the mood of this bhajan is very important. The mood is of helplessness, and that's why asking for help, that I need Krishna's help, I need devotees' help to be able to overcome my own weaknesses, which are there on the path of pure devotional service. So this is a very important mood to be cultivated by a sadhaka, right? It's very essential. So in this course, I'm going to tell this again and again. We are not just studying the book Sri Bhakti Aloka, but along with the study of the book, we are also trying to integrate some of the practices which will help us to become a better devotee, right? Which will help us to internalize the process of devotional service. So it's very important aspect of bhakti to sing, because when you sing, you can't sing without emotions. Can you? Of course not, right? You have to have emotions. So when you sing, then you are forced to uh, do it with feelings, and in bhakti, feelings matter a lot. So when I'm singing, and I'm singing these beautiful lines which are full of meaning, then I'm forced to feel from my heart what is written there. And then, with such feeling, if I put my prayer or request at the lotus feet of Krishna, there are more chances that Krishna is going to listen to our prayers. Right. Isn't it? Hmm. So, therefore, let's do sing this bhajan again. And today what we'll do is I have shared an audio with you. In fact, we shared two audios with you, two renditions of this song. So I'll play one of those audios. And while that audio is getting played, we can follow text on the screen and sing, but sing with our mics on mute, right? So if you listen to the audio playing, you please give me a thumbs up. Right, so let's start.
তুয়া ভক্তি প্রতিকূল ধর্ম জাতির হয়,
তুয়া ভক্তি প্রতিকূল ধর্ম জাতির হয়,
পরম যতনে তাহাতে জীবন নিশ্চয়,
পরম যতনে তাহাতে জীবন নিশ্চয়।
তুয়া ভক্তি বহির্মুখ সঙ্গ না করিব,
তুয়া ভক্তি বহির্মুখ সঙ্গ না করিব,
গৌরাঙ্গ বিরোধী জন মুখ না হেরিব,
গৌরাঙ্গ বিরোধী জন মুখ না হেরিব।
ভক্তি প্রতিকূল স্থানে না করিব সতী,
ভক্তি প্রতিকূল স্থানে না করিব সতী,
ভক্তির অপ্রিয় কাজে না করিও রতি,
ভক্তির অপ্রিয় কাজে নাহি করি রতি,
ভক্তির বিরোধী গ্রন্থ পাঠ না করিব,
ভক্তির বিরোধী গ্রন্থ পাঠ না করিব,
ভক্তির বিরোধী ব্যাখ্যা প্রভু না শুনিব,
ভক্তির বিরোধী ব্যাখ্যা প্রভু না শুনিব।
গৌরাঙ্গ বর্জিত স্থান চিত্ত নাহি মানি,
গৌরাঙ্গ বর্জিত স্থান চিত্ত নাহি মানি,
ভক্তির বাদব জ্ঞান কর্ম তুচ্ছ জানি,
ভক্তির বাধক জ্ঞান কর তুচ্ছ জানি,
ভক্তির বাদক কালে না করিয়া দো,
ভক্তির বাধক কালে না করিয়া দাস,
ভক্তি বহির্মুখ নিজ জনে জানি পার,
ভক্তি বহির্মুখ নিজ জনে জানিবা,
ভক্তির বাদিকা স্পৃহা করিব বাজ,
ভক্তির বাদিকা স্পৃহা করিব বর্জন,
অভক্ত প্রদত্ত অন্ন না করি গ্রহণ,
অভক্ত প্রদত্ত অন্ন না করি গ্রহণ,
যাহা কিছু ভক্তি প্রতিকূল বলি জানি,
যাহা কিছু ভক্তি প্রতিকূল বলি জানি,
এ জীব যতনে তাহা এ নিশ্চয় বাণী,
জীব যতনে তাহাই নিশ্চয় বাণী,
ভকতি বিনোদ পরি প্রভুর চরণে,
ভকতি বিনোদ করি প্রভুর চরণে,
মাগায়ে সকতি প্রতিকূলের ভজনে,
মাগয়ে সকতি প্রতিকূলের ভজনে,
ভকতি বিনোদ পরি প্রভুর চরণে,
ভকতি বিনোদ করি প্রভুর চরণে,
মাগায়ে সকতি প্রতিকূলের ভজনে,
মাগয়ে সকতি প্রতিকূলের ভজনে।
So very nice rendition, and I hope you are every day singing it, listening to it. By the end of the course, then you'll memorize this song, right? So now we'll go to the first topic in the book, and that is atyahara, or sense enjoyment. Hmm. So we know this verse, atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyam agraha janasangascha lolyangcha chadbhir bhakti vinashyati, right? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura is a great writer. You know, in this course, I'll be also bringing to your notice some of the techniques that we should learn when we are studying the scriptures. These techniques are very important. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a master at that. You know, the way he thinks, the way he presents the subject matter is very, very, amazing. He's one of, you can say, the greatest genius, the way he presents the scriptures. So he says, Atyahara. So let's break down this word into two words, Ati and Ahar, right? Ati and Ahar. So Ati plus Ahar makes Tyahar, right? So what is the meaning of the word Ati? It's a very simple Hindi word. What does Ati mean? Anyone can volunteer. Yes, Amal Krishna Prabhuji.
Excessive.
Excessive. Okay, yeah, excessive. Too much. Over. And ahar generally means eating. So atyahar means overeating. That is a very general meaning of the word atyahar, overeating. Right? Correct? But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he points out something else. He says, atyahar cannot just mean overeating. It should have a deeper meaning. So why? Because, he reflects in the text one of Shri Updesh Amrit, which is Vacho Vegam Manasah Krodha Vegam Jiva Vegam Udaropastha Vegam Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Dhiraha Sarvamapi Mang Prithving Sashishyat. He says that there are two words. One is Jiva Vega, which means urge of food, right? The desire to taste palatable foods. And the other is Udara Vega, which means the urge of belly, which means desire to eat excessively, right? So he says the concept of uh, controlling this desire to eat or overeat, that has already been spoken by Srila Rupa Goswami in verse number 1. Correct? He has already pointed it out. Now, Updesh Amrita means what? It is a book which is very, very small because it is summarizing the entire teachings. So, if it is a small book which is a summary, why should there be a repetition? Then there should be only, uh, single mention of this instruction or the point. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, because there is a repetition, therefore this repetition implies that there has to be some deeper meaning of the word atyahara. This is something which we have to understand when we are studying the scriptures. It's a lesson in the art of studying a scripture. What is that lesson? If there is repetition in a scripture, you can apply it anywhere. It applies to Bhagavad-gita, it applies to Srimad Bhagavatam, any scripture it applies. So if there is a repetition in a scripture, it could be for these reasons. And what are those reasons? First, it could be for emphasis. Because something is important, so you repeat it again and again. Right? Isn't it? So you emphasize, that's why you repeat it. And the second thing is, you want to establish another point. And that's why you are repeating the thing, but maybe using a different word. So you can note these things down when you're studying the scripture, then this will click to you. Oh, it's like that. So you use another word because that another word will give you another point which was not properly conveyed by the previous mention of a particular word. Okay. So, and the third thing is to embellish the previous point. So it could be an embellishment to the previous points. Therefore, there is repetition. Fine.
Embellish means
Embellish means you want to decorate it. You want to make it more beautiful. You want to give more characteristics of the same thing. So that's called embellishment. Mhm. Describe it more. So this is always there in a shastra, in a scripture. So that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that this word Atyahara should have a deeper meaning. So he says a general meaning of the word or a more specific word meaning of the word ahar is eating or bhojan. But now he extends that meaning. He says bhojan can also means to enjoy material objects not just by the tongue, but by all the five senses. So we have five knowledge acquiring senses and we have five working senses. Jnanindriya and Karma Indriya. Right? So this action of acquiring knowledge is basically, you can say, an effort to enjoy. It's an effort to enjoy. So he says, we know these are the senses and these are the objects of those senses. For the eyes, there is form. For the ears, there is sound. For the nose, there is fragrance. For the tongue, there is taste. And for the skin, there is touch, soft or hard, cold or warm. So he says, Atyahar means overindulgence in any of these sense enjoyments. It's very natural that the eyes want to see something beautiful. The ears, they want to hear something very melodious. The nose wants to smell good fragrance. The tongue wants to taste. And the skin wants to get the experience of touch, right? Soft and hard, cold and warm. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in bhakti, not just gratifying the tongue is a problem, but even gratifying the other senses is a problem. What happens when we gratify the senses? The senses become contaminated. And with those contaminated senses, it's not possible to come in touch with the spiritual energy of the Lord. This is very important to understand. If my eyes are contaminated, I will not be able to behold the beautiful transcendental form of Krishna with these eyes. If my tongue is contaminated, I will not be able to taste the sweetness of the holy name. If my ears are contaminated, I will not be able to find Harikatha as nectarian. Right? So these senses, they become contaminated by sense enjoyment, which means the sense objects come in touch with our senses. So this is what he explains for the word atyahar. Now he makes us think. So he asks a question. Can an embodied jiva, which means those who are having a material body, give up material objects completely? Like the eyes, can it stop seeing? The ears, can it stop hearing? The tongue, can it stop tasting? Is it possible? Not possible. What will happen if we do that? Yogmaya Mataji, what will happen if you do that?
We'll get overconsumed by it.
You have to speak little louder.
Our senses will get overconsumed by those things only.
No. If we stop doing those things, like the eyes stop looking, the ears stop hearing, what will happen?
Suffocation.
Suffocation. What else?
Renunciation.
No.
We will try to do
No.
something else.
No. Doing something else also means engaging the senses, no? What will happen if you stop the senses from coming in contact with the sense objects? What will happen? Amal Krishna Prabhu?
We will not be able to concentrate our senses on spirituality because our constitutional position is to indulge in material things. Bonded, conditional soul.
Okay. Yeah. So what will happen if we stop doing all that? Let's say I stop eating. What will happen?
We
Then
will die.
I'll become weak.
Hare
My body
Krishna.
becomes weak.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
My body becomes weak.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Mm. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, the taste will remain. It will be repressed.
Yeah, it will be
The taste for
repressed.
sense gratification will be
Yes, it
repressed.
will be repressed. What's your name? Can you please change it? Because it's written Hare Krishna. So can you change it to your name?
Shyamalila Devi Dasi. I'll change it,
Please.
Prabhu.
Yeah, please change.
Okay.
So what happens is if we give up these sense objects, that as long as we are in material body and we are conditioned, so a conditioned jiva, he cannot avoid sense enjoyment completely. Not possible. Because if you don't give the senses its food, ahar means food, right? So if you don't give the senses its food, what will happen? The senses will become weak, which means the body will become weak, which means we will die, right? So it's only a material concept, he says, that a mental concept actually, to think that we can give up sense objects completely. It's not possible. Hmm? It's not possible. So what he's trying to tell is, let's look at it more deeply. We'll go to Bhagavad Gita first. So karma or action means senses coming in contact with sense objects. That's called action. This is a very interesting definition of word karma. Generally, we think karma means work, right? But karma is defined as action, which means senses coming in contact with the sense objects. So if I'm looking at the screen, what is happening? My eyes are coming on contact with the screen. So is that a karma? Yes, it is, right? If I'm listening to some sound, my ears are coming in contact with that sound. Is that a karma? Yes, it is, right? I'm sitting on the chair. So I'm coming on contact with the chair. So is that a karma? Yes, it is, right? Now, can we stop all that completely? Not possible, right? It's not possible. So it's only a mental concept that I can stop all my karma. It's not possible. Therefore, he says, let's now go to Bhagavad Gita. So if you have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, it will be very nice. If you don't, no problem. But I'm sure you must be having. So you
Prabhuji.
can get, yeah, you can get your Bhagavad Gita copies. Shweta Mataji, you also get your Bhagavad Gita copy. Questions later. So first get your Bhagavad Gita. And look at these two verses from Bhagavad Gita, 3.5, 3.6. We'll do this exercise of looking at Gita 3 times, and then you will have to share some observation. I'll not point towards that direction, but you will have to be extra smart or intelligent to identify something. Of course, the hint is there in front of you, but then still you have to be a little more, you can say, attentive to notice it. So look at these two verses, 3.5 and 3.6, right? And read the translation of these verses. So in 3.5, Krishna is saying, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. That means we are helplessly forced to see, we are helplessly forced to hear, we are helplessly forced to taste, we are helplessly forced to touch. Action here means the senses interacting with the sense objects, right? Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So it's true, completely true. If someone says, I am doing nothing, I'm just sitting, then also he's doing something, he's sitting, right? Correct. So it's not possible to do nothing. One is doing something, right? And let's go to the next verse, 3.6. So 3.6 says, one who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Which means what? That I don't allow my senses, the physical senses, to come in contact with the physical objects, but my mind goes there. So then such a person is called a mithyachara or mithyachari, a pretender. Fine? All right. So now when we read the translation of these two verses, what is the conclusion that you come to after reading these two verses? What do you conclude? Some quick points from these two verses. What is Krishna trying to teach us?
But we have to channelize our senses.
Very
We
good. Yeah,
stop
so
it.
we have to channelize our senses. We have to engage our senses in the right manner. We can't stop acting. We cannot stop performing karma. Yes. Second, anything else? Vijay Narayan Prabhu.
Prabhu, rather than just refining from the activities, we can utilize those activities in the Krishna consciousness.
Okay, so we have to utilize the senses. Yes. Well, Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, there are 2 points. One example is if there is no goal, that is, we have no spiritual goal, then senses will do whatever they are in a conditional stage to do. Second point is if we don't purify our senses, our consciousness will not change. For a short time, our taste may change, but consciousness will not change. So without consciousness, it will be difficult to concentrate on spirituality.
Okay. So very simple point which Lord Krishna is telling here is we cannot stop with performing action. To survive, to live, to maintain the body, we must act. Activity is necessary. That's very important, right? But if this activity is done uh, in a material consciousness, with material concept of life, technically it is called Bahirmukha mentality, which means materialistic mentality. So what is Bahirmukha? Bahirmukha means my attraction is towards the sense objects. That's called Bahirmukha. When I'm looking at something, I get attracted towards it. When I'm hearing something, I get attracted towards it. I'm pulled by it. It is pulling me. Like you go to a shopping mall. So what happens? Your eyes get pulled towards the different objects that you see, right? So that is Bahirmukha, which means my senses are getting drawn outwards. My senses are going outwards. Bahirmukha. So what happens when a person lives like that, then that person loses human conduct and becomes like an animal. It becomes animalistic. So now what has to be done? Like some of you said, we have to channelize the actions in bhakti. Turn the actions towards Krishna, right? Isn't it? So what does Ambarish Maharaj do? Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, he uses the head to bow down to Krishna. He uses the eyes to look at the deities of Krishna. He uses the ears to hear about Krishna, right? Correct? So that's called channelizing the senses. So we need to make those activities favorable to bhakti. That's the conclusion of these two verses. Now let's look at another set of verses. Go to chapter 6. Chapter 6, 16 and 17. So what was the conclusion from the first set of verses we got? Can you stop acting completely? No. Do we need to channelize those activities to bhakti? Yes. Right? That was the conclusion. Next, let's look at these two verses from chapter 6. And 17. So what does Lord Krishna say in these two verses? In 16, he says, there is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or sleeps too little.
Regulate your senses.
So what is given in these two verses? What is your conclusion after reading to these verses?
If we are regulated, then we can mitigate, means we can surpass the material pains by practicing yoga systems. I think yoga system must be devotional activities or chanting. So we can surpass the material pain if we are regulated.
Yes, Vijay Narayan Prabhu.
Prabhu, in these two words, there Krishna was telling about the yogi. The yogi, in the sense, who will connect to the Supreme or Lord, actually. So, the one when the person is balancing the eating, sleeping, and then recreation in a such a manner, it will overcome all the pains, and he can just balance the yoga system. They can able to connect the God with the Supreme. So that's what is my understanding, Prabhu. Easily.
Yes. So what we understand from these two verses is regulation, right? That is very important. So from the first two verses, we understood that you can't stop acting. You have to channelize the actions in the right manner. And from this next pair of verses, we understand that regulation is very important, because without regulation, one cannot be a yogi. One cannot be a practitioner, a spiritual practitioner. So let's go to this topic now. Can we engage in sense gratification which is against bhakti? Is it possible? Is it allowed? No, a definite no, right? So can you give some examples of sense enjoyment against bhakti?
Shall I or someone else?
Right? Why don't you raise your hand if you want to speak?
Sorry.
Raise your hand so that we know that yes, you want to talk. Yes, Yogmaya Mataji. You have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam. When we utilize our energy and time for non-devotional activities, like, we unnecessarily prepare recipes and dishes, which are more than required. So that is also atyahara, I feel. Or
So
watching
give some,
movies and serials.
yes, correct. So watching movies or stuff on screen which is not good for our devotional life. So that is sense enjoyment against bhakti. So there are many such examples of eating food which is not good for bhakti, or watching things which are not good for bhakti, or listening to music which is not good for bhakti. So we understand that there can be so many examples of such things. sense enjoyment against bhakti. And then, can we engage in allowed sense gratification unlimitedly? One is, okay, this is not allowed, so we don't engage in it. But this is allowed. So now, because it is allowed, can I engage in it unlimitedly? No, right? No, isn't it? So can you give some example of sense enjoyment allowed in bhakti, but we should not engage unlimitedly in that?
Eating prasadam.
Yeah, honoring prasadam. It's allowed to honor Krishna prasad, but we cannot overdo that, isn't it? Hmm? That is also not correct. So this is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur trying to teach us from those two verses or sets of verses of Bhagavad Gita. That yes, sense gratification, first of all, it should be allowed by bhakti. Second, even if it is allowed, it should be regulated. Right? So these are two things. Should be allowed, and second, even if it is allowed, it should be regulated. So this is what he is trying to explain. So now let's look at 5.8 and 5.9. Verses 5.8, 5.9. So what does 5.8 say?
Senses are
5.8 and 5.9, what do they talk about?
Renunciation
Hmm.
means
Look at it more closely, and please try to understand what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is trying to help us learn. No? He's trying to make a path for us to think in a particular manner, you know, because it's like, okay, it's a problem. What is the problem? Atyahar is a problem. So then, uh, what we are trying to understand is how should I overcome it? Not just, okay, I want to overcome atyahar and I'll do it from tomorrow. But I have to change my way of thinking, my way of understanding things. Then I'll be able to do it properly. So what is it trying to teach from these two verses, 5.8 and 5.9? What are these verses about? About whom do these verses talk? Huh? Yes, Gaur Purnima Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So these verses are talking about a devotee, how he acts in Krishna consciousness. So although looks like, he's acting as a materialist who's also eating or sleeping, but whereas his all activities are actually engaged, and the center of those activities, Krishna. So if he's
Okay,
eating, then it's, for the pleasure of Krishna, he's eating prasadam and so on.
okay, okay. Actually, these two verses, they don't talk really about a devotee. These two verses, they talk about a Nishkam Karma Yogi, someone who has become self-realized because of performing Nishkam Karma Yoga. However, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is trying to point to something else. Let's look at this line. Having knowledge of Atma, knowledge of Atma means understanding I am not this body, I am spirit, soul. And understanding that the senses alone are interacting with the sense objects, which means I am not this body. So I am not interacting with the sense objects. It is the body, the senses that is interacting with the sense objects, right? We are not able to see it like that because we are not yet self-realized. We still think, I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, because for me that I means this body, right? But for those who are self-realized, they see that it's the body, the senses that are interacting. I am not interacting. The soul is not interacting, isn't it? So the Nishkam Karma Yogi thinks I am doing nothing at all. And because of that, a Nishkam Karma Yogi, though performing actions, is not bound by the reactions of those actions. That's what we study in Bhagavad Gita again and again, time and again. How you act, but you don't get bound by the reaction, correct? So he basically gives up the doership mentality. I am the doer. And how does he give up this doership mentality? On the basis of knowledge. What is that knowledge? I am not this body, I am spirit, soul. So that person becomes free from karma, basically. Ah. So this is also called Buddhi Yoga, where you think, I am pure spirit soul, I am pure Atma. All my senses perform actions for themselves. I do not perform those actions, right? My senses perform those actions. I do not perform those actions.
प्रभु जी आपके मैंने हैंड रेज किया हुआ है
Well,
Uh, uh, you said that I am Atma, I am soul.
don't take the things in bits and pieces. Please try to understand the concept. We are not talking here about you or me. We are talking about a self-realized Nikam Karma Yogi. That's how he thinks, right? So the conclusion has not yet come for us. This is for a Nishkam Karma Yogi who is self-realized. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that He is on that platform. So you don't have to now get worried like, how should we do that? We are not talking about that now. We are talking about Nishkam Karma Yogi, self-realized, thinking like that. All right.
You mean Nishkam Karma Yogi acts regulatedly.
Nishkam Karma Yogi is self-realized, so he, of course, will act in regulation. But at the same time, he has this knowledge, I am not the doer. Because of that knowledge, that person doesn't become bound by the actions he performs. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur, looking at these verses, he concludes for us as a practitioner something. And what does he conclude? He says, we cannot give up that doership mentality. Why? Because we don't have jnana like Nishkam Karma Yogi has. Right? We are not yet self-realized. We are not yet on the platform of Atma. So what should we do then? So he says, for us, the course of action is, we should take all the objects of the senses as the mercy of the Lord, Krishna Prasada, which means whatever I'm tasting, it is Krishna Prasada. Whatever I'm seeing is Krishna Prasada. Whatever I'm using is Krishna Prasad. If I'm sitting on a chair, that chair is Krishna Prasad. If I'm living in a house, that house is Krishna Prasad. It's a mercy of Krishna. Fine. So I should accept the sense objects. In what attitude? It is Krishna's mercy. But which sense objects should I accept? Only those which are not against bhakti. And how much should I accept? In regulation. And how I should accept? As Krishna's mercy. No? So very beautifully is explaining what you should accept, how much you should accept, and how you should accept. Right? So what I should accept? Only those things which are not against bhakti. Right? How much should I accept? In regulation. What should be my attitude? It is Krishna's mercy. Isn't it? So this is what he tells a devotee should do. That's what will help us overcome atyahar. Atiyahar. And one should reject the limbs of karma and jnana. So this is again very important. Karma means attachment and jnana means unnecessary rejection. So karma means too much of attraction towards it, and jnana means too much of repulsion from it. Right? So you all did that worksheet exercise which was shared. I hope you did it. You went through that worksheet. So it was asked what is the definition of pure devotional service. So what is that definition given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Someone wants to tell that verse? I hope some of you remember that verse. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives definition of pure devotional service. Yeah,
Can I say, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Gunagraham Gaurang Prabhu. If you want to say, you just raise your hand so that I
Yes,
know who
Prabhuji.
wants to. Yeah, Gunagraham.
Annavilashita shunnam jnana karmadhyanam pitam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttamam.
Very good. So, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, right? Which means not covered by Jnana and Karma. That is Bhakti, pure Bhakti. So, what is Jnana and Karma doing? Karma leads to unnecessary attachment, and Jnana leads to unnecessary aversion. and both are not good for bhakti. So one should give up this unnecessary attachment or unnecessary aversion. And therefore, there are these two terms in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One is Falgu Vairagya and one is Yukta Vairagya. So this is a definition of Yukta Vairagya. Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatharham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Muchyate. Then there is this definition of Falgu Vairagya. So what is Yukta Vairagya? First, let's look at the translation. That person who employs objects suitable for devotional development while remaining detached from them. This is very important. We use things because we can't live without using things. We use mobile phone because we can't live without using a mobile phone. We use cars because we can't live without using cars, right? Right? All that is there. But at the same time, we have to use them in the spirit of detachment. Right? That's very important. So I use it. Detachment means what? Detachment doesn't mean that you hate those things. No, of course, no. I can't use the car and hate the car. No, I can't use the mobile phone and hate the mobile phone. So hate is not the word for detachment. So detachment means I don't use it for my personal enjoyment. That's called detachment. Attachment means for my enjoyment. So detachment means not for my enjoyment. So use those things. So that means, okay, you want to get married? Yes, you get married. No problem. But not for personal enjoyment, right? You want to get job, earn money, but not for personal enjoyment. You want to make a house, but not for personal enjoyment, right? So we accept those things and we use those things in Krishna Seva or Krishna Bhakti, and at the same time see those things as Krishna's mercy. While remaining detached from them is said to be suitable for bhakti. This attitude and this vairagya, this renunciation is called yuktam vairagyam. The objects that we try to use for Krishna's seva should be constantly related to Krishna, which means we have to again and again tell ourselves that I am just using it for Krishna seva. It's not for me. So this is such a beautiful explanation given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that we have to remind ourselves again and again. Okay, this is a laptop, and I have this laptop. It is Krishna's mercy that I have this laptop, and then I have to use this laptop in Krishna seva. And this is what I have to tell myself again and again and again, right? Just for example. So then that is Yukta Vairagya. And what is Falgu Vairagya? Prapanchikataya buddhaya hari sambandhi vastunaha mukshubhi parityago Falgu Vairagyam kathyate. So a person who gives up things which can be used in Krishna Seva, thinking that this is renunciation, to reject things which are actually related to Bhagavan, because they want to be free from anxiety or problems or suffering. So that vairagya is useless vairagya. So we have to learn this. That is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is trying to conclude. We have to learn yukta ahar, not atyahar. We have to learn yukta ahar. Yukta means connected. So what is the difference? Atyahar means accepting material objects as objects of enjoyment. Yukta ahar means accepting objects as the mercy of the Lord. Pratyahar also means unregulated approach. Yuktahar means accepting with regulation. Pratyahar means not considering whether it is favorable or unfavorable to my bhakti. And Yuktahar means always using in a way favorable for bhakti. So this is something which we have to learn to apply. So this week we are discussing Atyahar. So our practice will be at least for coming 7 days before we do the next session. We'll try to be very conscious of these 3 points and we'll try to apply it every second. Right? What I should accept, only those things which are not against bhakti. How much should I accept in regulation? How should I accept Krishna's mercy? Right? Isn't it? So these 3 things. So we have to just keep on telling ourselves these 3 things. What, how much, and how. That's the lesson that we are going to practice for this week. Okay. So now let's look at another very important point. Please read someone the slide. Yes, Amal Krishna Prabhuji.
The instruction in the first verse to tolerate the urges of the tongue and stomach means that materialistic person often becomes greedy for tasty foodstuffs and suffering from hunger becomes eager to eat whatever is available. That is a material urge. When such an urge arises, it should be subdued by cultivating bhakti. Giving up atyahara mentioned in second verse is a natural and constitutional rule for the sadhaka of bhakti. It is a constant rule. The first rule for control is occasional and the second is constant.
Okay. So what does this mean? Someone will try to explain.
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
This first stage says when it is material, that suffering from hunger becomes, it is an urge which should be subdued. It cannot be avoided. Second is when we use our senses as the mercy from the Lord and we use in a regulated way, that is natural and constitutional role. It is for the sadhaka which will continue.
No, that's not the
No,
correct understanding.
not the, okay.
Yeah. Please try to read it more properly. So what he's trying to tell is, please try to understand. He's saying, when Rup Goswami is saying, you should control your jiva veg or udara veg. So vegas, they don't come to us throughout the day. They come to us sometimes. You sometimes feel hungry. You're not hungry throughout the day, right? Sometimes you feel like tasting good stuff. Not that every moment you are feeling like eating something. Right, isn't it? So Vegas, they attack us some times of the day. And then after that, they stop attacking. Right? So he's saying when there is a Jiva Vega, that please, this is a very tasty food, you eat it. So I have to control that urge. And we do that. Like, for example, when we follow this injunction, I'll not eat food which is not prasadam. So when I go out on the street and I see some very tasty preparation in a restaurant or something, so I control my urge. No, I can't eat it because it's not prasadam. Right? So urges, they come sometimes and you have to control those urges. So if I see some tasty food, I would like to eat it because I have greed for eating tasty food and I'm suffering from hunger. So I'll be, okay, let me eat it immediately. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it's a material urge, and when such an urge arises, You should subdue it by cultivating bhakti, which means, okay, you are feeling hungry, fine, let's cook something, offer it to Krishna and honor it as prasadam. So I have to control the urges sometimes, not that throughout the day I'm just controlling the urges, right? It's an occasional thing. It will happen sometimes. But then when he says atyahar, giving up atyahar, it means that it is something which you have to do in and out every moment. Why? Because it is an attitude. And what is that attitude? The attitude it is enjoyment for Krishna, seva for me, bhog for Krishna, seva for me. That is the attitude. Which is the attitude of bhakti. Bhakti means who enjoys? Krishna enjoys. He is the enjoyer. What do? I do seva. I'm not the enjoyer. So that is the attitude. You can't say, no, I am a devotee and I remain in this attitude only 10 minutes a day. Then I am a devotee only for 10 minutes a day. Correct? I have to be in this attitude 24 hours. Then I am a devotee 24 hours. Hmm? Enjoyment for Krishna and seva for me. So atyahar basically means having this enjoyment mentality. Yeah, that is atyahar. And what is opposite to atyahar? Opposite to atyahar is
Yukta.
Yuktahar.
yuktahar, which means I want to serve. Right? Just a second now. Okay. So this is very important. So he says the second one, which is avoiding atyahar, it is a constant rule, which means we have to be always mindful of it because it's more about an attitude. And that attitude is we have to give up this tendency that I should enjoy. In short, the first instruction is to be applied when there is an urge. One should practice self control in such situations. The second instruction is that from very beginning, one should practice a disciplined life. So, disciplined life basically means a mindset. Controlling one's urges, that is occasional. But what is important is the mindset, because if I have that mindset, it will be more easy for me to control the urges when the urges come. Right? But if I don't keep that mindset, then when the urges come, I'll sometimes win, I'll sometimes fail. Mostly I'll fail. But if that mindset is there, then we'll mostly win. So this mindset, it produces steadiness in devotional mood, which is very important. Our bhakti, the bhavana of bhakti becomes very steady. Ah, right. Bhakti is, this is how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur illuminating bhakti. He's trying to help us understand what bhakti is. So this is a question for us to think. Is bhakti only an activity, or is it an activity done with a devotional mood or devotional bhav? What is bhakti?
Activity done with devotional bhav.
Yeah. So activity done with devotional bhav. So that devotional bhav, it becomes steady only when we practice a disciplined life based on the concept of giving up atyahar. Otherwise, that devotional bhav, that devotional attitude, it doesn't become steady in our heart. Which means sometimes we may have these, devotional sentiments blossoming in our heart. Sometimes because of the environment, because of the association, because of the instructions that are being given to us, because of the inspiration that someone else is giving to us. But it doesn't become a constant nature of the heart. Right? It's not always there. So when we go to the temple, we feel, oh yeah, this is so nice. Chanting, dancing, Krishna's darshan. We step out of the temple, then we get into a different zone. Mm. If we are in devotees association, we feel the devotional energy. We step out of devotee association, then our heart goes into some other zone. So that devotional mood has not become steady. That means, right? So that steadiness comes by giving up atyahar, steadiness in devotional bhav. So this is very important. Now at the end, he gives instructions for grihasthas and instructions for renunciates. Grihasthas. The grihasthas can gather for maintaining his family, spending money, which is attained and gathered by dharmic means. He can pass his life serving the Lord and the devotees, maintaining his family and serving guests. Though having qualification for gathering and earning, if the householder attempts to gather extra wealth, he will create an obstacle to practicing bhakti and to attaining Krishna's mercy. Mm. Without doubt, gathering extra and earning extra is atyahar. So for Grihasthas, this is what he does. In this book, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that the verse applies differently to Grihasthas and differently to sannyasis. So he says for Grihasthas, definitely they have to have some extra wealth. They will have extra possessions. But that extra should be only for the sake of serving the Lord, the devotees, the family, the guests, and oneself. Plus, like Srila Rupa Goswami says, something for future emergency. But that extra should not be too much extra. So earning extra is against bhakti. Saving extra is also against bhakti. It will not let Krishna's mercy come upon us. So one should be very careful about it. So this is called regulation, very important. So without doubt, gathering extra and earning extra is atyahar, right? And for the renunciates, they don't accumulate at all. If he is not satisfied with what he begs every day, he is subject to the fault of atyahar. If he enjoys more than necessary, like he begged and let's say he got more than what he can eat or what he needs, and then because he gets more, he eats more or enjoys more, then that is also the fault of atyahar. Oh. So this is very, you can say, strict instructions given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur here, explaining the first point. So what should a sadhaka do with extra money or extra possessions? Now once one understands that this is not good. What should one do? Practically.
Practically, in the devotional service, and if like some emergency comes in home, so some
So
health
what should
emergency.
one do with extra money or extra possessions? This extra means extra extra. This doesn't mean the required extra. This is the extra from
Donate.
extra. Yeah,
Donate.
so one should give it away. Give it away. One should donate. Whether one is a brahmachari, a grihastha, a sannyasi, you have things which are extra, which means extra, you give it away. And that's what practically one should do. Which means just like we keep on getting things and we collect things, we should also develop the habit of giving away because things will come to us naturally. So we should also naturally give them away, right? So that will help us not collect, over collect. And it's a very important principle. You get, it's sometimes people give you things, you can't say no always, so you take. You can't just keep on storing and storing and storing and storing and storing. You have to also learn to give away. So this is very important, right? One should give away, one should not just accumulate. Then one can be free from this problem. Summing it up. Yes. Chika Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed that one should use objects without attachment and chant Krishna's name. One should not endeavor for better foods and clothing, etc. One should accept the pure prasad of the Lord, pure objects attained with little effort. This is the rule of the devotee for maintaining his life. Second, one should take what is necessary. Taking less or more will not bring good results. Taking too much, the sadhaka will fall under the control of material rasas and lose the spiritual goal. If he does not accept a suitable amount, he will not be able to maintain his body, which is necessary for performing bhajan.
So this is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. And at the end, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, thus, when both the householder and the renunciate, deliberating in this way, worship Krishna while giving up their heart, they will attain the mercy of Krishna. This is very important. Then they will get the mercy of Krishna if they deliberate in this way and worship Krishna with this attitude. So this is very simple. Actually, you have to only remember these three things. What can I accept? How much can I accept? And what attitude should be in accepting it? And if I have more, what should I do with it?
How
Right. So
much can
if you understand that much, that means we have so we are practicing atyahar in our life, right? Practicing atyahar in our life. So this is where we end this session. Any questions or comments?
can I ask?
Yes.
Two questions. Uh, if like we all have maids and cook in our houses, so is it okay to have the cook on maids in our houses if we are working, or is it not okay? It is atyahar. And second question, you said we should have extra. So how much extra we should have? Like people who are earning more, they might save more, or for everyone it is different. So how can we know how much is extra? And means I didn't understand.
Okay. So first question, if you ever made, is it okay? It's at atyahar. That you decide. I can't tell for you. You have to personally decide whether you need it, you don't need it, right? If it is atyahar or it's not atyahar. That's because all these things we have to know. It's not that it's going to be same for everyone, how things are going to be applied in personal life. That you have to see in your life how you can manage things. If you think it's a very necessary thing, you do need a maid, then even if it is atyahar, what will you do about it? You still keep the maid, right? So it's not about whether it is atyahar or not. You have to think about why it is there, why do you need it? Huh? So why just maid? There can be so many other things also. It can be clothes also, extra clothes. That is also atyahar. Extra shoes, let's say, extra bags. That is also atyahar. You go to the market and you see something nice. You don't need it, but you just buy it because it is nice. That is also atyahar. So there are two things. One is things which are doable, and there are things which are not doable. So sometimes our mind and intelligence, it goes to things which are not doable, but it doesn't go to things which are doable, which means extra shopping that is in very much in your control. You want to stop it, you can stop it. But let's say if you're living with your family, then removing the maid from the house may be not a practical thing for you to do, right? So let's use our intelligence in those areas which we can work on immediately. So for second, extra, when I said, so I said extra is okay, but extra is not okay. Isn't it? That is not okay. Because there is no end to just getting that extra. One may think, okay, when I retire, I'll need 50 CR. Uh, Someone will say, no, not 50 CR. That's not enough. I need 500 CR. So there's no end to that extra, right? There's no end to it. So that you have to be very honest and sincere. How much I need and how much I need to keep extra. Like I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm traveling to a place. So we wear dhoti kurta. So it's the same color, same style, right? No change. So let's say today I wear a pair, tomorrow it's going to be contaminated, so it's going for wash. And so I have a pair for tomorrow. But emergency, let's say the pair which I wash tomorrow will not get dried in one day, so I need a third pair for the third day, correct? And perhaps, some special occasions, I may go to some special events, so I may need a very new pair for that. So then when I'm traveling, then carrying 4 pairs of dhoti kurta is a good thing, good decision. Two is too less if it doesn't drive problem. Three is okay, and fourth is like extra careful, right? But if I'm traveling to a place and I carry 10 pairs of dhoti kurtas, so this is extra. I don't need 10, right? So 4 is okay, 3 is good. So similarly, in everything we do, we have to decide what is extra. Do I need this extra? Or it's not required? That you have to use your intelligence. What's the problem with that extra? What is the problem with that extra?
Insecurity
You will
or
waste too much of time
time.
maintaining it.
Yes.
That is the problem with that extra. Let's say you have a house, you need a house only with one room. So little extra means 2 rooms. Say some guest comes, so you need a second. But if you have a house with 5 rooms, that is extra, right? The problem with that is you'll spend too much of time cleaning that house. You don't need 5 rooms, you just need one. But you'll spend so much time cleaning those other 4 rooms also, which you anyway don't need. So maintenance will consume a lot of time. So why extra is a problem? Because you have to maintain it. And that takes time, that takes money, right? That takes energy, that takes your consciousness. So Bhaktivinoda Thakura says that is not good for devotional life. Okay, so this extra, again, personally, you have to decide how much. Okay, next, Neha Mataji.
Prabhuji, again, it is about this extra only. How do we uh, also take care of emergencies as well as decide this extra in case of money? Like unprecedented, unimagined emergency may arise.
Yeah, correct. So you think about it and you save something. But if you keep on just saving and imagining that something may happen, then this will not end anywhere, right? This will not end anywhere. There's no end to it. That's what we have to understand. There's no end to it. So you have to, at the end, develop this faith also, know that, right? Who protects? It, who protects? If any danger comes, actually, who protects? Is it money that protects? Or is it Krishna that protects? So Krishna will protect if there is a situation like that. So why should I too much worry about it? That is called Shraddha, no? It's called faith. So we have to build that faith. Srila Prabhupada, he went to America on Jaladuta. So he was not aware what will I get to eat in America, no? Because he thought America, I mean people, I don't know what they might be eating there. So what did he carry with him? What did he carry with him? He carried a sack of potatoes, no? Right? He thought, if nothing is there, I'll just boil these potatoes and eat. So how many potatoes he carried? 1 ton, 5 tons. How many potatoes? One sack, which would last for how many days? One sack will go for how many days? Maybe a month maximum, isn't it? So then Prabhupada did not carry for like 12 months. No, I'm going to America. Let me take all the provision for 12 months. This is too much. Okay, one sack of potatoes. So something I'll take for emergency. That is okay. But then if you think, okay, 12 months, then for 12 months, every single thing I need to get now. That is too much concern or too much of insecurity or fear. So this fear goes away when we are surrendered to Krishna or we learn to take shelter of Krishna. And that's what bhakti is, taking shelter of Krishna, which means getting rid of this fear. It's very important. Right? So this extra thing is fine, but too much of extra is not good. So we should learn now to depend on Krishna more and less on these things. Because even if it is there, if the problem is not going to get solved, you have lots of money, it's of no use. But anyway, this is something which you have to um, learn by your personal deliberation. These instructions given in the scriptures, they are not like wireframed exactly the same for everyone. They are different for different people based on their situations and all that. So you have to just be honest about it and apply as much as you can. In the song we sang, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I'll try my best. So we just have to try our best, isn't it? That's what we can do. But I should give my best effort. So how do you know whether you're giving your best effort or not? You yourself will come to know. Because if you don't give your best effort, from inside you will get this voice telling you, you're not doing your best, you're cheating, you're compromising somewhere, right? So you just have to listen to that voice. And if you give your best, then from inside you will feel this confidence. I have done my part. Now, Krishna, it's up to you. You know, This is all what I can do. I can't do more than this. I can't stretch myself beyond this. This is my best. This is my ultimate, effort or endeavor. So that we have to personally decide. That's what we have to do. So yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Bye, Ji, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have two questions, Prabhuji. One is when you're talking about Yukta Vairagyam, or even, thinking about Krishna all the time. How is it possible sometimes, to connect the material activities that we are doing to Krishna? I remember in one of your lectures, maybe in Nectar of Instruction, you mentioned how Prabhupada, he even got, the land, church land and converted them into, iskcon temples. So he was able to see, and I think, great devotees can actually see. But as a practical tip on a regular basis, maybe as we are doing bhakti, we are doing at least, a little bit, certain activities we can relate. But most of the activities, Prabhuji, how do we actually, make that transition or connect? That is my first question, Prabhuji, if you can share your
Transition or connect of which activities? Daily activities?
whatever activity, because there are some material activities. For example, there is, let's say, work or car that we are using. So car that's used to go to the temple actually makes sense to me because that way it is connected. But the car that
No.
I'm using maybe
You
to go to
see,
work.
you have to first of all make the goal of your life very clear. What is the goal of your life? If your goal is clear and it is Krishna, then everything that you do is connected to that goal. If I'm using my car to go to the temple, that is devotional service. But if I'm using my car to go to the office to earn money, which I'm going to use in Krishna Seva, that is also devotional service. So everything gets connected. So basically, the first thing is, what is my goal? That is the most important thing, right? That is very, very important. So if my goal is clear, then whatever I am doing, I'll try to connect it with that goal on, let's say I am a practicing devotee, my family members are not devotees, but I understand that they are also part and parcels of Krishna, and I have some responsibility towards them. So if I use the car to visit them, and by visiting them, I am doing my duty as a mother, as a father, as a child, as a husband, as a wife, as a brother, as a sister, and also helping that person be Krishna conscious in some way, directly, indirectly. I'm using the car for the right purpose.
But sometimes, Prabhuji, is there a possibility that we may try to justify what we are doing materially by, trying to connect it to Krishna? Because the
It just,
possibility of
Madhu,
falling
this
in that gray area.
justification can be done by anyone. So there is no, you can say, check on that. One can justify one's wrong actions or intentions at any level. So that is, you can't stop it. That's why on the path of spirituality, what matters the most is your personal sincerity or honesty. Because, it's a path where you can cheat. You can cheat. You can bluff. You can try to show that, yes, you are doing something, but you are not actually doing it. So, what matters the most is your personal integrity or honesty. What are you looking for? Sincerity. So, if that sincerity is there, then you are on the right track. If that is not there, then even if one leaves the house, leaves the car, and goes and lives in some solitary place in Vrindavan, and that sincerity is not there, the person will end up not getting the goal. So that sincerity is very important. And one who is sincere will be having this bhav. And what is that bhav? So we should know one thing. When we read the prayers written by these acharyas, like we sing this song by Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Uh, so when our heart, it resonates with that song, like you feel, oh, such a nice song. You see, he is expressing this mood of uh, helplessness and praying to Krishna. And this is such a nice song. I wish I can also feel like this. Wish I can also pray to Krishna like this. You know. So if these songs they resonate with your heart, that means you are on the right track. But if these songs don't resonate with you and you think, what is this? Too much of prayer. We don't need so much prayer. This is too much. Then that means you are not really on the track. You are far away from the track. Because if you want to get somewhere, you'll be desperate. And then whatever helps you to get there, you'll be eager to hold on to it, right? Yeah, this will help me. So let me take this help. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is trying to teach us what should be an attitude, what should be the attitude of a sadhaka, that there are things which are obstacles on my path of bhakti, and I'm not able to overcome those obstacles. So let me pray to Krishna with strong resolve. And also, I should make my strong resolve that I'll give up those things, that determination. Right? So this is there. But the most important thing is making that goal very clear in your mind. What is the goal of your life? So that if that is done, then whatever you do, it is okay. It will help you. That goal is to be very much clear. That's why we have to remind ourselves again and again every day. Who am I? What am I supposed to do? And where am I heading? Then even physically you are not there where you are wanting to be. You are mentally at least there. Let's say you happen to go to a party. You're not interested to go to that party just because it's a social obligation. You go to a party, family party. But your mind is not there. Your mind is, oh, I want to be a devotee of Krishna. This is not anukul to my bhakti. Krishna, I'm in the wrong place. Please protect me for next 2 hours. After that, I'll be out from here. So you are still on the right track. But if you go to that party and then with the music, you also start shaking your head and your legs start being on the floor, and then you get intoxicated with that whole ambience, then that means okay, forgot the goal. Okay.
Thank you. Prabhuji, I had one more question. Actually, can 2.59 also be connected with what we are discussing?
Yeah, Vishaya
Vishaya
vinivartante niraharasya dehinah
Svarchablasopyasya
rasvarjam
param
rasupyasya param drishtva nivartate. So we cannot give up material taste until unless we got a higher spiritual taste. That is true. But we have to also put efforts to give up, because if we don't give up, that higher taste will not come. This is the irony of spiritual life, What is that irony? You can't give up without getting it, but you can't get it without giving it up. Which means, you can't get, you can't give up material without getting spiritual, but you can't get spiritual without giving up material. So this is something which is very difficult to decode. One point it is said, How can I give up material if I don't get taste of spirituality? But at the other point, it says you can't get taste of spirituality until and unless you give up the material. So what do we do? So what we do is we give little material, taking a risk, you know, and then to the extent we have given up material, Krishna will give us that proportionately the taste of spiritual. Then we give up little more material, and Krishna gives proportionately little more spiritual taste. And then a point comes when you give up completely the material identification, and then you get complete spiritual experience. But that risk is very important to take. If one doesn't take that risk, you don't get it. And taking that risk is called Shraddha, faith. That is what faith means. Faith means I don't know whether it is going to work for me or not, but I will try because Krishna will not cheat me. That's faith.
Thank you,
Dwarka
Prabhuji.
Vasini Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is, you said that we have to have a proper mindset to be able to give up atyahara. How to develop this mindset when
We
we are
already
very...
discussed in the whole session. That's what I don't understand. There are so many good points we discussed. You should think about it before asking the question. Sometimes we just ask questions without thinking sufficiently. See, 4 things were given in the session. If you just keep record of those 4 things and apply in your life, you'll develop that mindset. So what are those 4 things? First of all, whenever you are getting something, is it favorable for bhakti? Yes or no? Yes, accept it. No, don't accept it. So we have to practice that, right? You take your phone, you go to Instagram, you start looking at a clip. You should ask yourself, is it favorable for bhakti? No. Stop it then. Yes. Okay, I can watch it. But how much can I watch? How much screen time? Can I just whole day watch Instagram? No. What about my chanting, reading, hearing? So 5 minutes, right? Then the third thing, how should I accept it? I saw this video. I felt some happiness and joy. So what should I do now? This is Krishna's mercy. Krishna is giving me some sense gratification for my maintenance. I need some sense enjoyment to survive. So this is Krishna's kripa, Krishna's mercy. I should be grateful to Krishna. So we have to practice these things, no? This we have to apply.
Yes,
That's
Prabhu.
then we'll develop that attitude. It's not that okay, you just snap your fingers and you'll develop the right attitude. We have to apply those things and practice. Then we get that attitude, that mood. Practically, we have to do things.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
So you apply things practically, and at the same time you pray to Krishna for help. So these 2 things put together, efforts, pray for mercy, will bring the result. That's all we have to do, you know. So, yes, Shikha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My question is overthinking also a atyahar?
Yes, that is also Tyar.
Means like
Doing anything over is Atyahar. Anything you want to do over, that is Atyahar. You want to enjoy something too much, that is also Atyahar. You enjoyed something and in your mind you're thinking about that enjoyment again and again. It is so nice, it is so nice. That is also Atyahar. Right.
And if there were something like in our past or earlier we have done which was not definitely good for our bhakti at all, so we now regret on those things and we like why I've done all those things and thinking
Yeah, so
about all
that's
such
okay.
things. Is
We
that
should do such things, but we should not do it too much because it is not helping me to serve Krishna, no? It's not helping me to be a devotee of Krishna. It's not the positive engagement, it is only a negative engagement. So this is very important to understand that overindulgence in anything, overindulgence in guilt feeling, overindulgence in being sad, morose, overindulgence in being negative about things, overindulgence in just finding faults with everything and everyone, overindulgence in even you can say positive criticism, overindulgence in anything is a tyahar because it's not helping you to serve Krishna. So we have to learn to regulate, which means this is what discipline in life means. You want to, uh, let's say you want to be sad. So you have to then tell yourself, if I remain sad whole day, how will I chant? How will I do my seva? So there is no window for sadness, Maybe 5 minutes sadness is allowed, more than that, because I have other things to do in life. If I just remain sad, how will I do them? Right. So you have to tell yourself like that. Isn't it? Just like, uh, sometimes children are daydreamers. So they are just dreaming like that. So the mother comes and tells, you can't just dream like that. If you do, then how will you study? How will you do your things? So come on. There's a time for, just dreaming, but you can't dream whole day. So like that, you have to tell yourself also, okay, fine, I am sad, but I can't be sad throughout the day. Let me change my mood. Let me come out of it. And it is something which is in our hand. This is what we don't do. We can apply all these tools to change our mind. Mind, it can be changed by us. It doesn't need to be changed by someone else. You have to tell your mind. That's all. If the mind is sad, you have to tell your mind. Why be so sad? Look at so many beautiful things in your life and be happy about it. And then the mind will start looking at those things. So you have to guide the mind. So you have to tell the mind, don't think too much about it. Don't be so sad about it. Don't be too happy about it. Don't be too excited. That's what we have to do. And it's in our hand. And only we can do it. Others cannot do it for us. Right? So Atyahar has many ways. Only not eating. We have to think the mind also has its food, and the food for mind is thoughts. So we can't just let the mind keep on thinking, thinking, thinking.
okay? Thank you, Ramesh.
All right. Spear. Thank you very much. See you next week. Hare Krishna. Srila